be connected with everyone. Wish I could see you. We know that 1 week from today is Rosh Hashanah, and we are all hoping to have a great year, but very often we don't know exactly what the message, what the opportunity of Rosh Hashanah is giving us. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about exactly what Rosh Hashanah, what that opportunity is. And then throughout the month, the entire month, it starts with Rosh Hashanah, starts a whole journey, a whole spiritual journey. So I used to give a course that is called Seasons of the Soul. And what that course was about was how each Jewish holiday is giving us an opportunity for spiritual growth. And each holiday gives us a different type of opportunity. So Rosh Hashanah is its own opportunity. Yom Kippur is its own opportunity. Hanukkah, Purim, each month, each holiday is giving us a different kind of spiritual growth that if we can capitalize on that window of opportunity that's opening in time, embedded into this spiritual DNA of that holiday, is a certain opportunity for our souls to reach their potential. So Rosh Hashanah has its own power embedded in the day, and we want to try to catch that wave, try to catch that light on Rosh Hashanah. So it really behooves us to know what it is so we can grab it and we can really get the most out of the opportunity. So the interesting thing about Rosh Hashanah is no one really knows why Rosh Hashanah is on Rosh Hashanah. Meaning, we all know why Passover is on Passover, because that's the day the Jews got out of Egypt. We all know why Hanukkah is on Hanukkah, because that's the exact 8 days that little jug of oil lasted for 8 nights. We know that. Purim, that's the day that we had the final battle against Haman and all of his cohorts. So we know why these holidays happen. What happened on Rosh Hashanah that made it Rosh Hashanah? So Jewish wisdom teaches us very clearly, Rosh Hashanah is the anniversary of the day that Adam and Eve were created. So what that means is that God created his whole world, but there weren't any humans in it. There wasn't anyone with that higher intellect to be able to capitalize on all of the wisdom that was in the world. And on Rosh Hashanah, God created Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava, man and woman, which means humanity is created. Rosh Hashanah is the anniversary, the birthday of humanity. So what that means is embedded into the DNA of Rosh Hashanah is the first commitment to purpose. At that point, we were building. Rosh Hashanah became the day that humanity was created, and there became this potential for purpose and for wisdom and for connection to God and for something higher. So every year on Rosh Hashanah, we're taught that God, so to speak, looks down at each of us individually. If you've been in any of my classes, you know that my favorite God quote is, if God had a refrigerator, your picture would be on it. He loves you. So when God looks down and he looks at us, each of us individually, because each of us matters that much. We don't get evaluated just as a group, though there is that kind of evaluation, how a nation is doing as a whole. But more than that, God looks at each of us individually with our own extenuating circumstances, with our own desires, our own troubles, our ups, our downs. He takes us as a whole picture. And on this one day, God looks down and kind of says, so, Ziskai, how you doing with that purpose thing? And he looks at each of us to figure out what is it that we need and what is it that we're lacking and where is it that we're strong and how can he help us? What can he give us that we can become the best us that we can possibly be in the upcoming year? What successes, what tools, what challenges, what failures? We've all failed at stuff. And sometimes you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. So we have this opportunity on Rosh Hashanah to be able to tap into this. How do we do that? Okay, that's what God's doing. Okay, fine. But what do I do down here? So Rosh Hashanah is fascinating in that it doesn't come on the last day of last year. See, everybody thinks Rosh Hashanah is the day where I have to pray for everything that I need next year, and I need to apologize for everything I did last year because God's scrutinizing me and he's evaluating me. So he sees I yelled at my kids, I stole this, I cheated on that, I wasn't honest, whatever we did wrong, our whole laundry list. And like, boy, I better apologize, I better straighten up my act. And no. So let me explain it like this. Imagine a kid who just finished 3rd grade. On the last day of 3rd grade, you get your report card for 3rd grade. Okay, now imagine they didn't get the report card. Fast forward. Imagine now that kid comes back after summer vacation and it's the first day of 4th grade. And all they want to do is hand him his report card from 3rd grade and talk about that. He would be like insulted. He'd be like, 3rd grade? I'm in 4th grade. I don't even talk about 3rd grade. That was last year. Rosh Hashanah is that same kind of idea. You're not getting your report card from last year. Nobody cares about last year right now. What we're getting on Rosh Hashanah, it's the first day of the new year. It's the first day of 4th grade, so to speak. So we're not talking about last year. And you see this very clearly if you look at the prayers. All of the prayers on Rosh Hashanah, there's not one. I'm so sorry, my phone keeps ringing. I did turn it off, but it just keeps going. I don't know why. I'm turning it off. It is off. I apologize. Where was I? None of you can tell me where I was because you can't talk to me. So on the first day of the new year, we're not talking about last year. We're not evaluating. All of the prayers, they don't talk about that. If you look at the prayers of Rosh Hashanah, the only thing they talk about is God, you're the king, you're the king, you're the king, you're the king, you're the king. And the Rosh Hashanah davening, the prayers are really, really long. And if you read them, that's basically all it says in many different forms. What's going on? What are we talking about? So here's the idea. The idea is Rosh Hashanah, like we said, is the day that Adam and Eve were created. It's the day that's embedded with this commitment to purpose. So on Rosh Hashanah, it's not that God needs us to tell him he's the king. He knows. We're the ones that have to take one day of our year and just, can you hear me now? I see that somebody can't hear me. Is that better? Louder? Tell me if it's better. Erin, can you make sure that they can hear me? Rosh Hashanah is the day that we take one day of our year and we just get in touch with the concept that there is a purpose to the world. It's not random. There's a plan and there's purpose and there's something bigger that we want to tap into. So when we say, God, you're the king, you're the king, you're the king, I don't know who believes in God and who doesn't believe in God. Let's just start with, you know you're not God. The idea of there being a God means that there's a plan and there's a purpose and there's meaning to the world. And on Rosh Hashanah, what we're able to focus on is, do you want in or do you want out? Do you want to be a part of that? Because on Rosh Hashanah, God isn't saying, what did you do last year? He's saying, who are you as a person? How do I help you become the best person that you can become? God knows our potential. Do we? On this one day of Rosh Hashanah, our whole goal is to tap into there's a bigger meaning in the world, and I just want to be a part of it. Rosh Hashanah is called Yom Hadin, the day of judgment. What are you being judged on? If you're not being judged on last year, what are you being judged on? What you're being judged on is, what do you want? Because you could want anything. Some people want to be great. Some people just want to be, I don't know, popular, or just want to, make money, whether it's honest or it's not. I mean, people want different things. What do you want? Do you want to be a part of the purpose of the world? Do you want to be a part of greater meaning? There's a lot of problems out there. I don't need to list them for you. We just had 9/11. We just had a hurricane. There's many, many problems in the world. Do you want to be a part of the solution? Do you want to be a part of the meaning? The Jewish people is desperate for leaders. Do you want to be a part of the leadership? Do you want to be a part of the solution? Rosh Hashanah is the one day on the Jewish calendar where we just set everything else aside. Forget your mistakes. Nobody cares today. Forget what's holding you back. Just forget the limitations. If you could wave your magic wand and be anything and do anything, what would that look like? Do you want in? And it's completely fair on Rosh Hashanah to say, God, I don't even know what my part in your world is. I don't know. And I don't even know if you're there, honestly. That's fair. God can handle that. Be honest. But I know that there's something bigger than me. I sense that there's something bigger going on, and I want in. Like, I'm reaching out to you. Can you reach out to me? Rosh Hashanah literally means the head of the year. Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. So if you think about a head, it doesn't mean Techilat Hashanah, the beginning. It says the head. What's a head? A head contains your brain. A head is the center for everything that you do. It's everything you think, it's everything you say, it's everything you feel, it's everything you move, it's everything. So Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, means, number one, it says our entire year is decided on Rosh Hashanah. If you need to, how much money you're going to make, how your family's going to do, everything that's going to happen to you in the whole year is embedded into the day of Rosh Hashanah, and everything follows from there. You can always change it later, it's just harder. This is the day where it's kind of being put into wet cement. So you can always change it, it's just gonna be a lot of work to change it. Today's the day you can put in anything. So you wanna focus on this day. It's actually 2 days, do it both days. But the first day is really, really, really where you wanna focus. Rosh Hashanah also means one day, one of my friends said it like this. She said, it's the day you get your head on straight. It's the day that you recalibrate. Who do I want to be this year? What's my life about? Where am I headed? And one of the reasons why we don't ask for anything on Rosh Hashanah, we ask for life in general. We ask to be written in the book of life, but we don't have all these prayers about, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. You're not supposed to ask for anything on Rosh Hashanah. Because Rosh Hashanah is a day where we realize everything we want is just a means to an end. It's not an end in itself, meaning like this. Imagine somebody is very, very sick, God forbid. They're very sick, they can't get out of bed, they can't walk around, they're really, really ill. And they're praying and praying and praying for health. Imagine they wake up one day and they have perfect health out of nowhere. They're fit enough, they can run a marathon, totally fit. So would they say, okay, good, I have my health, I can die now? No. Obviously not. The point of health is not just to have health, check the box. You pray to be rich. Well, when you become a millionaire, okay, good, I can die now, I'm a millionaire. God forbid. Now that you have what you've been praying for, your health, wealth, family, success, a home, a degree, a job, whatever it is that you're praying for, once you get that thing, that's not the end. That's the beginning. You are only praying for that because you want to use it for something bigger. Well, what is that? What is that something bigger? On Rosh Hashanah, that's the day that we focus and we recalibrate and we recommit to that purpose. Or sometimes we commit for the first time. Maybe we're not recommitting. We commit to the new us. We commit to the new year. Next, after Rosh Hashanah, we begin another process. We go through another journey that's called the 10 days of tshuva. The 10 days of this thing called tshuva. How do we translate that? So from Rosh Hashanah is the first day of the month of Tishrei, and it goes until Yom Kippur, which is on the 10th day of the month of Tishrei, the Jewish month of Tishrei. So we have 10 days. So from the first day of Rosh Hashanah until Yom Kippur, we have a process. The process goes like this. Day one is Rosh Hashanah. We recommit to purpose. Who do I want to be? Do I want to be part of the solution? God, you created this world. You created me. I just want in. I don't even know what it's going to look like, but I want in. Okay, now that you've had that experience and you recalibrate at the beginning of the year, well, now your whole life looks different. Because let's say you want to be an amazing parent. I'm just saying. Let's say you want to be an amazing parent. Well, now that you have really introspected and really thought about that and really recommitted to that, well, the next day, when your kids aren't going to bed on time and you feel like yelling again, somehow it doesn't fit anymore. Somehow it doesn't taste the same. Somehow you're like, wait. I just recommitted to something. You want to be the best doctor ever. So next day, your patient walks into your office and you're like hurrying up because you have 10 patients waiting. You're like, whoa, I just committed to something. I want to be the best doctor ever. Is what I'm doing right now the behavior of the best doctor ever? And if we can be honest with ourselves and we can be authentic and we can be real, then it's very possible the answer will be no. And that's okay. These 10 days are there to help us go step by step by step, baby steps, to be able to go from that vision, that end goal, best doctor in the world, best parent in the world, whatever your thing is. I'm not telling you what to want. You have to know what you want. But whatever it is, that's your finish line. Well, now you got to get there. So the 10 days are not when you get there. You're not going to get there in 10 days. We all know that. But the 10 days are when you can kind of step into the role just for 10 days. Just be the best mother ever for 10 days. It says that God is like, he sets it in wet cement, what our year is going to be like on Rosh Hashanah. But the cement doesn't dry yet. The cement needs a good 10 days, 2 weeks to set. So for this process, you understand it's been written. On Rosh Hashanah, it was written, but the cement's not dry yet. The ink isn't dry yet. So you can still switch it around. So during these 10 days, one of my friends explained it like it's picture day. When your kids have picture day in school and you send them into school, you want to make sure their face is clean, their teeth are brushed, their hair's done, their shirt's tucked in, whatever. You want them to look their best. What if your kid turned around to you and said, Mommy, don't you want me to be the real me? I mean, this isn't the real me, and you know it. Like, come on, can't I just go in normal the way I normally do? My hair's a mess, my face is messy, and my shirt's not tucked in, like, real me. And you say, sweetheart, I want you to be the real you. I just want you to be the best you, right? Picture day, you want to be the best you. If your kid's not that good looking, you won't, even if, I'm sure all your kids are gorgeous, but even if your kid is like, so going through that awkward stage, you won't send in somebody else's kid so the picture looks good, right? That's not what you want. You want a picture of your kid just at their best. The 10 days of tshuva between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that's the 10 days of picture day. Be the best you. Okay, you won't be able to keep up being the best doctor every day, 365. Maybe that's not normal. You won't be able to be the best mother every day, 365. It's not normal. But for 10 days, just step into that role. Just keep asking yourself, is this the me I really want to be? And the more that we're able to step into that, the more that we're able to personify who it is that we really want to be, to have that experience. And then we have this concept of God really sees you trying. And then he's like, you know what? She really wants this. I'm changing the cement before it dries. And you just get something that's more tailor-made for what you really want in life. Because you're leaning into your own life. You're trying hard. You want to reach your potential. And you're actually doing something about it. Judaism gives us a moment every year to really do something about being the best person you can be. Let's define this word tshuva. Tshuva literally means returning. People translate it like repentance. I'm not sure what that means. Tshuva really means returning. So the question is, what are we returning to? So people always explain it like, I'm changing my bad behavior to the good behavior, and tshuva means I'm like going to be really good now. Okay, but does that mean you need to be perfect? I mean, how could you return to being perfect? Were you ever perfect? I was never perfect. So that can't be what you're returning to. It doesn't make any sense. So Jewish wisdom explains to us, you're returning to the fight. You're returning to the path, to the road. Because sometimes in life, we sort of give up on ourselves. And we just think, I'm not that kind of person. That doesn't happen to people like me. I'm not that kind of mom, or that kind of doctor, or that kind of wife, or that kind of person. That's for other people. And we give up on ourselves. And what Judaism is pointing us towards is tshuva. Every year, at the beginning of the year, these 10 days are saying, like, come on back. Come back to the fight. Get back in the ring. The stands are nice. You know, in a football game, the stands, you got your blankie and you got your hot chocolate and you got your popcorn and you're watching everybody else do the work. Don't be the audience of your life. Don't be the bystander. The 10 days of tshuva are what they're pointing us towards is get back in the game. You can be amazing. God has your picture on his refrigerator. You're unbelievable. But the person who needs to believe it is you. So we have these 10 days of tshuva, these 10 days of really stepping into that role, that person that we want to be, and that effort, that desire, that putting your money where your mouth is. That doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying. You're just in the game. You're back. You're fighting. Once God sees that, so now you get a different kind of year. Because now, like, oh, you're one of the players. Got it. Well, players get different rules. Players get priority. Now we come to Yom Kippur. What happened on Yom Kippur that made it Yom Kippur? So Yom Kippur is the day that after the sin of the golden calf, you remember this horrible mistake we made in the desert. It's a different class about what happened there, but Moses comes down with the 10 commandments on the tablets, and the Jewish people made this humongous mistake, which you have to understand in a deeper way. It's not our class. They made this humongous mistake of worshiping this golden calf. And the 10 commandments crash onto the ground, and Moses goes back up the mountain for another 40 days to beg forgiveness for the Jewish people. And then he goes back up the mountain for a third set of 40 days. You didn't know this, did you? He goes back up the mountain for a third set of 40 days. And on the last day of that third set of 40 days, the first 40 were the first 10 commandments that ended up smashed because of the golden calf. Second 40 days, Moses just went up to beg God to forgive the Jewish people for this horrendous mistake. The third set of 40 days, Moses goes up the mountain for a third time to get the second set of 10 commandments. The day that Moses came down with that second set of the 10 commandments, the day that the Jewish people was absolutely forgiven for this horrible mistake that we made, that day was Yom Kippur. So what that means is embedded into the fabric of Yom Kippur is the essence of forgiveness between God and the Jewish people. So when we want to ask for forgiveness, we don't do it on any random day. We pick the day that has the spiritual DNA woven into the fabric of time. This is the day that God forgave the Jewish people. We catch that wave and we run with it. So Yom Kippur, I'm sure you all know, we fast, we don't eat or drink it's like Shabbat. Like Shabbat starts at sundown and then it ends at nightfall the next day. So this year Yom Kippur is actually on Shabbat. Yom Kippur is the only holiday that kind of is more, I can't say more important, but it like supersedes Shabbat. So we don't eat, even though it's Shabbat and the meals are so important and the challah is so important. Because it's Yom Kippur, we don't have any of the Shabbat meals. And we fast from, check your calendar, I don't need exact times in your city, but from right before sunset on Friday until nightfall Saturday night. You do the best you can. This is what it says. We fast the entire time. And we go to synagogue and we pray. And that is the day that we say we're sorry for everything that we did. Because now that we had Rosh Hashanah, we thought, what do I want out of this year? And we recommitted to purpose. And now we had the 10 days of tshuva, which means we stepped into that role and we did something about it. So now you can really regret with a full heart, like, I can't believe I yelled at my kids, or I can't believe I didn't give my patients the time they deserved, or whatever it is. Now that you have stepped into this new role and you've experienced your potential and your power and how much growth and how amazing you are, how great you can be, now you can really go like, boy, did I blow it. And when you feel that regret, that authentic, like, then you're able to say to God, like, I'm sorry. I really want to be better. That's all God needs to hear. There's no such thing as God thought we were supposed to have it all together. That's just not a Jewish idea. You know, there's no such thing as being exempt from Yom Kippur. You know, the biggest rabbi in the world, I don't care how long your beard is, nobody is exempt from Yom Kippur, because Judaism understands we all make mistakes. That's okay. You're never going to stop making mistakes. You're always going to make mistakes. Sorry to give you the news. This is the punchline. You never quite get it together. Now you know. But every year, at the beginning of the year, we recommit to being the best us that we can be. And we step into that role. And then Yom Kippur, we say, I'm so sorry I blew it. And going through this process every year on Yom Kippur, what it gives us is like liberation. Like the whole concept of guilt is not a Jewish idea. I know it's like Jewish guilt, Jewish mother guilt, you know, all that stuff. It's not Jewish. Guilt means that you beat yourself up. Shame, you know, that you are your mistake and you feel guilty about it. And we almost have this like sick thing about feeling guilty because it makes us feel like we're actually doing something. Judaism tells us you're not doing anything by feeling guilty. You're just beating up one of God's children that he happens to love a lot. The fact that it's you doesn't give you the right to beat yourself up. What Judaism says is, look, you made a mistake. Like, so what? We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. We just make different mistakes. My mistakes are chocolate. Your mistakes are vanilla. Like, so my mistake probably is chocolate, actually. But anyway, that's a different class. The whole concept of Yom Kippur is just say you're sorry. It's not bigger than that. Just say you're sorry and say, here's what I'm going to do to try to be better, Come up with a slight plan. You know, I'm going to make sure I put my kids to bed on time because then I won't yell at them because I won't be overtired and they won't be overtired. Or I'm going to make sure I schedule one less patient per day because then I can give my patients the attention that I want to give them to be the kind of doctor I want to be, or whatever your thing is. Strategize. Think proactively. What do I need to shift? What do I need to change so that I can become the greatest person that I can become? Yom Kippur ends with this verse that we've all heard, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, which means next year in Jerusalem. And we blow the shofar one long time, and that ends Yom Kippur. The last hour or so of the Yom Kippur prayers is called Nili, which means the closing or the locking of the gates. It says on Yom Kippur, there's a certain set of gates to heaven that are open because God wants to hear our prayers. It's like God leans in. You know, the concept of God being angry at you and sitting up there with his arms crossed, you know, and he's got lightning bolts in one hand and lollipops in the other, and who's good and who's bad, like some kind of, I don't know, cosmic Santa Claus or something. It's not a Jewish idea. The concept of God on Yom Kippur is more like his heart's broken, that we feel bad, that we messed up, that he's in it with us. He's totally in it with us. And when we step forward and say, I'm sorry, he accepts that apology immediately. That's the Jewish concept. He accepts it's not like he's gonna, oh yeah, oh show me. It's not like that. He loves you. It's like if your kids would come to you and say, you know, Mommy, I'm sorry that I, yelled at you or whatever. You don't say like, oh really? Well, it's like it's adorable. God thinks we're adorable. That's the good news. God thinks you're adorable. So when you come and you say you're sorry, he accepts that. So we end the day with singing L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. There's many synagogues that sing this, that they even dance at the end of Yom Kippur, because we're celebrating that our apologies were accepted. And L'Shana Haba Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem, what that means is that we are hopeful. We have a certain faithfulness that this year is going to be the year that we really get it together. Next year in Jerusalem is a kind of a code word for world peace, and everything works, and the lion will lay down with the lamb, and it's like, this is what the world is supposed to look like, that we all get along regardless of race or color or religion or anything. Just we get that humanity is one big mishmash of family, and that we get along and we work together. L'Shana Haba Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem, means we did it. We got it right. We got it together. And we end Yom Kippur with that because we're uplifted. We're not worried and neurotic. What if God didn't forgive? No, we're happy and we celebrate. 3 short days after Yom Kippur comes the amazing holiday of Sukkot. Sukkot is the holiday where we live in huts. And actually, we would have celebrated this holiday in the spring. Let me explain what it is. Judaism tells us that we should build these huts, these temporary dwellings. You can actually buy them at Home Depot and put them up in your backyard. And the ceiling needs to be something you can see through. You can't just put a roof on it that is like, solid. The roof has to be something that you can see through. And we leave our homes and we go and live in these huts for a week. When I say live, I don't mean you have to move out. I mean that you eat all your meals there. Some people sleep there. When you're chilling and you're hanging out, go hang out in your sukkah. The concept of leaving your home and going to live in the sukkah is the concept of trusting God. That we realize the 4 strong walls of our home is not what gives us our sense of security. We realize that our sense of security comes from something bigger. And a hurricane is exactly the moment where you realize the 4 walls of your house, not really going to do it. There's something bigger that is in touch with us. And by leaving our homes and going to live in the sukkah, we have this opportunity to really connect to that. It says the ceiling of the sukkah must be made out of something that was alive and now isn't. Meaning you can't build your sukkah underneath a low-hanging tree and think, oh, that branch, that'll cover the sukkah. If it's still connected to the tree, if it's still alive, that's not enough to be qualified as the ceiling of the sukkah. Cut the branch off the tree and put it on top of your sukkah, that qualifies. Why? What is this? What Judaism tells us is that sitting in your sukkah, we need to understand that there's greater purpose in the world. And by having something that used to be alive and now isn't, and looking through that and seeing the stars above you, you're able to look through pain, to look through death, and be able to see there's a bigger purpose. We all know that there's no magic wand. Things don't work out perfectly. I've been through stuff, you've been through stuff. What Jewish wisdom is pointing us towards is there's a greater purpose in the world. And by connecting to that purpose, that's what gets us through the tough times. And the promise of Sukkot, the promise of Sukkot is that this is how you be happy in life. Everybody wants to know the secret to being happy. On Sukkot, what we're told is the 4 walls of your house, not going to make you happy. The wealth, that's not what's going to make you happy. You don't take that with you. That's not the ultimate happiness. The ultimate happiness is connecting to that purpose, connecting to something bigger, that even in the face of something that could be painful, something that could be hard, if we're able to connect to the purpose and still see the stars and still look up, it is that reaching past what we see, reaching past this world, that gives us that tremendous sense of happiness. This holiday, Sukkot, it says, V'samachta b'chagecha, and you will be happy in your holidays. The mitzvah of Sukkot is just be happy, man. Just be happy for a week. That's your job. Eat nice meals, hang out with your family, go on trips. Sukkot is the mitzvah is be happy. We have a lulav and an esrog. There's different things to look into. I'm not covering everything in this one little class. We're almost done. But the main mitzvah of Sukkot is to be happy. On Sukkot, when we were in Jerusalem in the temple 2,000 years ago, we would bring many offerings. We brought 70 oxen to symbolize the 70 nations of the world. It was a holiday, the Pentecostal holiday, where everyone, all nations were included, and it says other nations would come to Jerusalem. It was this big international festival. And then after the 7 days of Sukkot, the Torah tells us, this is written in the Torah, the Old Testament, it's written in the Bible, that there is an 8th day, which is a separate holiday, completely separate holiday. And this holiday is called Shmini Atzeret. It's an 8th day. You have 7 days of Sukkot, and out of Israel you have 8 days now. And then you have this one extra day called Shmini Atzeret. What's the purpose of Shmini Atzeret? God tells us, y'all came to Jerusalem back in the day, 2,000 years ago. Jews would travel from all over Israel, even from all over the world where they lived, and they would come to Jerusalem, and we would come to the temple, and we would have this tremendous experience of this holiday. But there was all kinds of nations there. It was very big. It was very international. And God says at the end of that 7 days, everybody else goes home because they're just there for Sukkot, that last 7 days. And God says this one verse, Kasheh alai predaschem. Your leaving is difficult for me. It's hard for me to see you go. If your kids live away from home and they come home for Thanksgiving or a visit or a birthday, and then it comes the time for them to leave, it's like you're already, before they're out the door, you already miss them. And God says, I already miss you. And he says, stay one more day. Shmini Atzeret means the 8th day of stopping. We stay one more day. And the sacrifices we bring in the temple that day are very simple. Now it's just the family. You're just eating the leftovers. It's nothing fancy. But it's one day where we just have this moment, this intimate moment between us and God, between God and the Jewish people, where we just stay, just us. In later years, the rabbis instituted this holiday on a holiday called Simchat Torah. If you've ever been to a synagogue on Simchat Torah, we're celebrating that we finished the annual cycle of reading the Torah. We complete the Torah on Simchat Torah, but this was instituted later. And it's built onto Shmini Atzeret because Shmini Atzeret is the day that God says, stay one more day. I want to be with you. And our answer, the Jewish people's answer of the millennia back to God is, we want to be with you. And we take the Torahs out and we sing with them and we dance with them and we kiss them and we hold them and we celebrate this heritage called Judaism, this wisdom that unlocks the secrets of the universe, that clues us into our potential and to who we really can be and to how important we really are. And when God wants us to stop one day and be with him, we take out the Torahs and say the feeling's mutual, like we're leaning in right here with you. One of my rabbis, we'll finish with this, one of my rabbis once said, not once, he said it many times, he said, a relationship is only as strong as the person who wants it the least, which means if I want to be your best friend and you don't want to have anything to do with me, so what that means is I'm at 100 and you're at 0. What's our relationship? We don't meet in the middle at 50. Our relationship is 0. If you want nothing to do with me, there is no relationship. A relationship is only as strong as the person who wants it the least. God wants a relationship with you. He's at 100. If we feel far away from God, God's not the one who moved. Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret is this day where he leans in and we lean in. And this month that we're in right now is called Elul. It's like the Jewish December. The last month of the year is called Elul. Elul is actually an acronym. Elul stands for Ani Lidodi Bidodi Li, which means I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. It's a very popular verse. It's used on on marriage contracts and wedding invitations. People put it on their wedding rings. A very romantic verse. But it's actually not talking about romantic love. It's actually talking about this love between God and the Jewish people. And we use this term Dodi to refer to God one other place also, the very popular prayer Friday night, Lecha Dodi. You all know that song, right? Lecha Dodi means, come, my beloved. Likrat Kala, to greet the bride. Pnei Shabbat Nekaba, let's receive the presence of Shabbat. So Lecha Dodi is really the Jewish people inviting God to come with us to welcome the Shabbat into our lives. That's what we're saying. God is Dodi. God is my beloved. Judaism is not really a religion. Judaism is really a relationship between God and the Jewish people. And every mitzvah that we do is really just a bridge. It's really just a connector so that we can be who we're supposed to be, so we can have this relationship with the divine, with the purpose, with this something bigger that connects all of us. Elul is called this Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li because in the days leading up to this process we're about to go through, this Rosh Hashanah, the day that we're evaluated, who do you really want to be? If you could be anything, what would that look like? Recommit to your purpose. The 10 days of tshuva. Okay, now that I know what I want, let me step into that role for 10 days. Let me live it. Let me be it. Like, let me at it. I want to go. 10 days where you're really giving it your all. It's like the sprint to the finish line. Like, just leave it all on the field. Go for it. And then Yom Kippur. Because then, after you thought of your vision and you committed to it for 10 days, now you can say, like, Aish, did I blow it last year? I did this, I did that, I did that, I did this. You know what? I am really sorry from the deepest place. Like, I'm the one losing out here. I'm losing. I want to be better for me. And then you have Sukkot, where you celebrate it. We have this whole process we're about to go through. And if you really do it, you really do leave it all on the field. A lot of people talk about tshuva, go to classes about tshuva, they pray about tshuva, they think about tshuva. Tshuva is something you're supposed to actually do. You're supposed to actually take a pen and paper and write down, what's the me that I want to be this year? Write it down before Rosh Hashanah, now. And what's 2 steps I could do that would help me step into that? And what am I sorry for? Just journal. Go someplace quiet, lock your door. Just journal for 5 minutes. Just put it down. Walking into this process can be hard, can be a little bit draining. So in the month before Rosh Hashanah, we have this month, Elul, Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. I am to my beloved is to me. God and the Jewish people were just like this. It says that in Elul, God is the closest to us that he ever is the entire year. Because he knows we're about to go through a self-evaluation. He doesn't want us to be hard on ourselves. So he leans in the entire month before Rosh Hashanah to say, I'm right here. Let's talk. I created you to be amazing. How can I help? What do you need? Like, let's do this together. And right now is the time where you can catch that wave and you can capitalize on that. And if you just take a minute, walk outside, look up at the sky, say, God, it's me. Can we talk? You'll feel it. You'll feel that coming back to you. So my blessing to all of us, myself included, my blessing to all of us is that this should be the year that we really get how amazing we are, how much power we have, how much change we can implement in the world. You start with the world around you, you start with your family, but your circles get bigger and your ripples get bigger. My blessing to all of us is that this should be the year that we really become the incredible people we're supposed to become, and we contribute to Jewish destiny what it is that is our unique contribution to make. I think I have a couple of minutes for questions. If anybody has, you can put on the chat and maybe I can answer your questions. I'll give it a couple of minutes if anybody wants to put anything in. You're welcome, Debbie in Perth. Oh, I love Perth. From Mindy, I'm glad it was helpful. Thank you. Are we going to this weekly or monthly? Erin, I think all of the different trip leaders do this monthly. So this was my month, and Adrian and Lori, Adrian Gold, Lori Palatnik, Rohi Koval, there's some other trip leaders, Raquel Kurzenbaum, there's a lot of amazing, amazing teachers. And I think once a month, JWRP will be putting out a webinar. Watch your Facebook, watch your email, and you will get the updates of which trip leader will be doing it. From Madrid, oh, so nice. This is so great. You can connect to so many people all over the world. And Erin said that she will be sharing the link to the recording of this, so that will be out there. Shana Tova to everyone. All right, ladies, thank you so much. Shana Tova. If anybody wants to email me privately, my email is nilicouzens@gmail.com, and you're welcome to email me, and I hope you all have an amazing, amazing year, and thank you for joining on the class. Shana Tova, everybody.